Hello there, Richie Vitale here. I'd like to talk to you about the half diminished chord, what it is, and how to use it in your soloing. The song that was just played is called Alone Together, and I chose it because it is in a minor key and it has quite a bit of use of the half diminished chord going to a dominant flat 9, going to the 1 minor. The backing track was done in an application called iReal Pro. On the first A section, I'm pretty much sticking to the melody to set up the soloing. Starting at letter B on the second bar is example 1. Here I'm paraphrasing something directly from my book called A Lyrical Approach, Supplemental Book 2. I purposely started out my Supplemental Book 2 with a 2-5 going to the 1 minor because this is a difficult subject to explain and comprehend. You see, the way I learned to play a 2-5 going to the 1 minor was by listening to the players that came to my hometown of Rochester and also listening to records. So before I knew the theory behind it, I was using my ear. And I think it is essential to playing jazz in any capacity to hear it as well as to understand it. Not only that, it makes it fun rather than a chore. Now you see, a 2-5 going to the 1 major, well, that's all in the same key. Let's say we're in the key of G major. The 2 minor 7, or A minor 7, starts on the 2nd degree of G major. The D7 starts on the 5th degree of a G major, and well, G major is, well, G major. But regardless of the starting points of each of these chords, all of the notes involved are in the key of G major, which makes the thought process behind soloing on a 2-5-1 a little easier than that of a 2-5 resolving to a 1 minor. But I digress. So below this video, I will leave links to 3 of my videos, one on the major modes, one on the minor modes, and one on the 2-5 going to the 1 major. Now example 1 starts on the flat 5th of an F sharp half diminished, that being the note C. And you can see the flat 3rd here and the root of the F sharp half diminished. Then you have an E flat or a D sharp, which is the 3rd of the B7. And then I play the 5th of a B7, that being F sharp, and then a half step above and a half step below a B, resolving to the 5th of the E minor. Next, in example 2, on the F sharp half diminished 7, I'm actually playing notes in a B7 altered chord without thinking of it and resolving to the 5th of a B7. For example 3, again I'm taking something out of my supplemental book 2. This time I'm literally playing note for note a line that is in my book. Also, I'm resolving to an A minor rather than an E minor. On the bridge at letter C, I'm using a diminished scale. The thing to remember when you're playing a diminished scale over a diminished chord is if you're starting on the root of the dominant chord ascending, your diminished scale should be half step, whole step, half step, whole step, which is exactly the opposite you would play using a diminished scale over a Jobim song. If you look at any song written by Antonio Carlos Jobim, you'll see that all the notes in the melody on the diminished chord belong to a diminished scale that is whole step, half step, whole step, half step. On example 5, once again I am using a B altered, or really one of the modes of a C minor major. I'm using an E-flat Lydian augmented scale, a fancy name for an E-flat major scale with a sharp 4th and a sharp 5th. This is because on the A half diminished chord, I am thinking of a C minor major chord or a C melodic minor scale. I plan to make a video explaining all of this in the near future. For example 6, I am starting the F sharp half diminished early by 2 beats, but I am thinking of it as a D7. So I am approaching it from the 3rd of a D7 and putting in a half step between the flat 7th and the root, both when I ascend and descend. This is important because an F sharp half diminished, if it was a standalone chord in a progression, in other words, not part of a 2-5 going to a 1 minor, it's important to know that F sharp half diminished is the Locrian mode, or scale starting on the 7th degree of a G major scale. I know this is a lot to comprehend, but like I said, it should be fun. And if you want to play jazz, you should also learn to play by ear. If you pick up my supplemental books 1 and 2, which are available for 5 different sets of instruments, it would be extremely helpful with your improvisation. I want to thank you all for watching and hope you are staying safe during this COVID crisis. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below. Also, feel free to subscribe to my channel for updates on my newest jazz video lessons. I've also started a brand new Patreon page to help defray the costs of making these videos, where I'll be including PDFs of these lessons and insider tips. Please feel free to go to patreon.com/Richie Vitale and join up to help in this jazz journey. Thank you for watching and happy practicing.